Hey, so today is January 26th, 2023. So let's see. I uh I almost got into an accident while driving today. Two separate times actually. And they both happened within the span of less than 2 minutes of each other. So this was in the morning. I was grabbing breakfast. Just was gonna buy a bagel from the coffee shop. And I was turning left in an intersection, and it had just snowed the other day, so my car windows were frosted over, so I didn't really have a clear view of the way. And as I was turning, I I realized that there was a group of kids walking across the street with a crossing guard. And just as I was about to turn, the crossing guard shouted out at me and gave me a "what the fuck you doing" kind of gesture, like kind of look like that. So, um, that was that was that was bad. That was a fuck up on my part. And less than 2 minutes later, like a minute and a half, I was turning a corner, and I didn't yield to a car that was passing through because it was kind of at an angle where it didn't have a clear view of traffic. It was at a sharp corner, and there were cars alongside in the other intersection, and then the oncoming car kind of popped up. So what I should have done is pulled out further before making that turn. But I didn't do that, and we had almost collided into each other, and they honked their horn at me. They held it for like 5 seconds, just beep. Yeah. So there's no excuses for either of those situations. I was just being a total fucking idiot, as always. I'm very fortunate throughout my entire time being on the road driving, which has been for a little over a year now. I've had my what's called a G2 license here in Ontario, Canada. I don't have my full license yet, but technically I've been driving for 2 years, close to 2 years, when I had my beginners, but on the road by myself, just a little over a year now. And I'm fortunate, I'm lucky that I haven't been in any accidents, but I've had one too many close calls. I remember I had rear-ended an older couple, like lightly bumped into their back end, and they had got out of their car and they took a picture of my license plate. They asked me what my name was, but there didn't seem to be any visible damage to their car, and they never ended up reporting me. But I was incredibly lucky because the whole situation could have been far worse, and I'd be paying the consequences for it to this day, literally. Like you know, that would show on my insurance. um, I remember I backed into a pole in an empty parking lot at night, and I was trying to smoke weed. and I didn't want my parents to see. I wanted to try to keep it under wraps. And I suddenly heard a group of people talking nearby, and I didn't want them to see me smoking in my car, because that's not really a good look. I hastily tried to back out of that parking lot, but didn't realize that there was a concrete pole behind me, and I slammed into it, and still to this day, it's left a sizable dent in my rear end, which will probably cost like thousands of dollars to fix, but whatever. I remember I was driving too fast in a parking lot and almost ran over a person in a wheelchair. And at the same time, there was a car pulling into the parking lot. So at the same time, the car was on the left side pulling in, and the person in the wheelchair on the right side. And I both drove into them at the same time. And the car honked at me. And I quickly fled the scene out of embarrassment. And I remember for the next 5 minutes, there was this car following me the entire time. I'm assuming they wanted to like confront me, but eventually I lost them, because yeah, I mean, it was terrible. It was really bad. I remember when I was driving out at night, there was a truck in front of me, and they had stopped to turn onto a street, and I had briefly looked down at my phone, and when I looked back up, I realized they had come to a full stop, and I didn't have enough time to stop my car. So in a split-second reaction, I swerved around them, and I was going in like 40, 45 kilometers an hour. So that was probably my closest call. Like that was horrifying. That could have been a huge accident, possibly seriously injuring myself or the other person, both of us. Could have killed somebody and done some serious damage to both of our vehicles. So I am really, really, really fortunate that I was literally, I was this close from calamity. It was yeah, it was horrifying. It could have been so much worse. And yeah, and now these two incidents that happened within the span of 2 minutes of each other. It's actually kind of remarkable. But obviously, I wasn't thinking straight. I don't have my head screwed on properly, and there's no excuses on my part. Just in each and every case, I was being a total fucking idiot. But you live and learn. You know better. As long as you learn from your mistakes, which I do. I try to. I know it goes without saying, but you have to keep your eyes and mind on the road at all times. Always be looking in all directions, especially when you're turning a corner or doing a lane change or reversing, backing up. Always be aware of your surroundings. And most of all, you know, just drive safely. Don't be a fucking idiot. Don't, you know, don't drink and drive. Don't smoke weed and drive. Don't do cannabis and drive. Don't, if you're too tired, don't get behind the wheel. Always have somebody else drive you. I think we've all heard this, but it's easy to forget sometimes. And being on the road for just a little over a year now, I have failed to keep all that in mind while driving. So most of all, just don't be a fucking idiot. You are driving what is essentially a metal machine of death that can kill you. I mean, there are thousands of people who die in car accidents each and every day. It's like it's not a laughing matter. You need to take this shit seriously every time you're on the road. You need to be responsible. So I also took my driver's test a few days ago for my full license, my G license, as it's called here in Ontario. And well, I failed, but it was for reasons you wouldn't necessarily expect. I was driving too slow. I was being too cautious going into it, and we were driving out on the highway, and I kept slowing down when I was changing lanes, and obviously you can't do that. Like and normally I don't. Like whenever I'm out on the highway, I'm not just driving at the limit. I'm usually going 10, maybe 20 over at most. And most people are doing that. Most people drive 120 on the highway. And when I'm on like residential roads, at or a little bit over the limit, it's just, yeah, I was going into it with the frame of mind that I wanted to drive as cautiously and safely as possible, but yeah, it ended up being a detriment. And when you're on the highway, you cannot be slowing down. You have to maintain your speed so you're not impeding or cutting anybody off. So, and I remember they took marks off because I wasn't checking my mirrors or blind spots, even though I was, but I wasn't necessarily making it obvious. Like I wasn't, turning my head. So yeah, you have to can't just use your eyes. You have to really make it physical. You gotta really be turning your head at all times to show them that you're checking your mirrors and blind spots. Of course, you do have to turn around to check your blind spots, but anyway, which I was doing. But at one point, since I was going too slow, there was a tractor trailer behind me, and the examiner told me to change lanes, and I had incorrectly gauged how close the tractor trailer was to my back end behind me. I thought they were far back enough where I could safely change lanes, but no, I was wrong, and the examiner intervened and forcibly took my steering wheel and kept it in place. And I think if I hadn't already failed the test by that point, I definitely did that. Well, without a doubt. Like that was a total fuck up on my part, and an automatic fail. So, and my examiner, she wasn't she wasn't mean or anything, but um, it was kind of freaky. I remember she was reading off all the protocols for the and like the rules of the test, and she had it memorized to a T. Like it was, I remember like for an entire minute she was spelling off in such an eloquent, concise manner. Like it, and she had the voice where she almost sounded like she was automated. Like it was like Siri, Alexa. Like it was honestly, it was impressive. It was like wow, like you really take this seriously. I think I think it was just her voice. Like it really like kind of like she sounded like a robot almost. So and I tried to chit chat with her for a little bit, but that was my mistake. Like they're not there to talk. They're there to examine you. And I could get the sense that she felt kind of like uncomfortable near the end. Or when she like got out of my car, she didn't even say like "Have a nice day" or anything. She said like "Thanks" under her breath. But you know, it's whatever. Like I tend to make everybody feel uncomfortable in some way. But I've you know, you learn to stop giving a fuck after a while. So, anyways, just thought I'd talk about that. I really don't have a whole lot going for me lately, but I believe there are brighter days ahead. And don't beat yourself up over it. You know, we all make mistakes. Just do better for next time.